and we've got a star-studded cast for you. So first up, I'd like to welcome Lindsay St. Lawrence from MasterCard Payment Gateway Services. Big round of applause, please. You've got to love that music. I guarantee you in the next 40 minutes you will be sick of that music, but you will have learned something about global e-commerce and local payment methods. So next up, from First Data, Nandan Sheth. So you guys at the back, please keep coming in. It's Payments Jeopardy, a world first exclusive here at Money 2020. And last but not least, competing for a cash prize to a charity of their choice of $2020. Last up is Per from Braintree. Okay, so we have a pretty global crowd here at Money 2020. If you're not familiar with Jeopardy, which is a legendary part of American life, as core to America as apple pie or Donald Trump, then you might not know the format is kind of strange. We're not looking for answers, we're actually looking for questions. So we've got 3 categories of questions. I'm going to start with the contestants one by one. They'll get to select a category. I'm going to read out an answer, and they need to get the right question. If they get the right question, they get little ducks. Ducks count as points, and the one with the most golden ducks at the end of the show will win the prize for charity of $2020. Okay, so first up, and we'll start with a little intro before each contestant does the questions. But Lindsay, we're going to start with you. Maybe before we see the categories, can you just tell us where you're from, which is not always a straightforward question in the international world of payments, and what are the challenges you're most excited about in your role at MasterCard?
Sure. So hi, Lindsay St. Lawrence. I work for MasterCard, more specifically in our payment gateway business. I'm in the product management side, working with both merchants and reseller partners to leverage our gateway globally, enabling standard payments as well as alternative payments through our partner PPRO. So it's really interesting right now to see how merchants are evolving, how they do payments, and whether they're just a merchant today or whether they're also going to be a service platform, et cetera. And as acquirers are starting to grow and be able to service their customers globally. So it's really an inflection point in being able to see not how they do payments today, but how they're going to be doing payments over the next 5 to 10 years and building out the strategy with them.
And where are you from?
I'm actually from New Jersey. I will admit it, I'm from New Jersey. Woo! Some people may like that.
I think that adds to the whole kind of event, you know, Payments Jeopardy, New Jersey. Not saying anything. But, OK, let's see today's categories. OK, so first up is name that local payment method. So what are the preferred ways for consumers to pay online around the world? Our second category, bringing home the bacon. So which countries are most popular for cross-border e-commerce with the US? And finally, global e-commerce, so beyond the pond, outside of particularly UK and US, around the rest of the world, Asia, Latin America, what are some of the trends that we're seeing with worldwide e-commerce? So each of the contestants is going to get 3 questions on each, or the chance to come up with 3 questions. Obviously, the questions are in order of difficulty, so you can choose a 1-duck question, 2-duck, 3-duck, and we'll take it from there. So Lindsay, what's it going to be?
I'm going to start with name that LPM for 1 duck, Alec. OK. So pay attention, audience, because we might come out to you if the contestants don't know the answer. So we're looking for the question behind this answer. So the answer is this e-wallet payment method recently announced that it's reached over 250 accounts worldwide. So what's the answer, Lindsay? Should I be fair and give it to you?
No.
All right, he heard me because I'm closer. I'll say Alipay.
Yeah, this could get interesting because obviously the competitor. So Alipay now have over 500 million accounts. So, Per, want to jump in with the answer?
Yeah, what is PayPal, obviously?
Correct.
I didn't want to admit that.
Yeah.
Giving somebody else
He
credit.
gave it to me, but thank you. Thank you.
So, Per is off the board, and you got a little stand here to pop them
nice.
into. Okay. So, tough luck, Lindsay, but you know, this is a competition. So, Nandan, so you're based in Atlanta with a global role for First Data. Where are you from originally, and what are the things you're most excited about in addressing for your customers at First Data?
Sure, sure. So I was conceived in Africa, was born in India, grew up in the UK, and somehow ended up in Atlanta. So that's 4 continents. So I've got to do one more continent. I came to First Data through an acquisition of a company that I co-founded called AccuLink. AccuLink dealt with global debit, and one of the areas that we had a strength in was non-traditional credit schemas, such as a RuPay in India or an Elo in Brazil. At First Data, I'm responsible for enterprise e-commerce, and as part of enterprise e-commerce, one of the key areas that we are honing in on and have honed in on with our partner PPRO is local payment methods. And my biggest ask or challenge is enabling local payment methods in Asia.
I think there's a roadmap request there. Great. I think you need to choose a 3-duck question, Nandan. So which category is it going to be?
I think I'll go bring home the bacon, 2 ducks.
Okay, so here's your question. In 2017, the top 4 countries that purchased goods and services online from the United States, so which countries were having cross-border e-commerce to the US? So there's Canada, UK, China, and one other country. Which is it? So looking for the most volumes to...
Mexico.
You gotta buzz in.
Correct.
Oh, is that it?
Well, what is Mexico?
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But, you know, as
He's not from
a
here.
global citizen new to the world of Jeopardy, you did tell me your wife told you
I know.
specifically that you've got to say what is.
She even texted me.
So please let her know that
Sorry.
you failed. But we're going to give you the 2 ducks,
You didn't
because
even
I think it
push
was
the-
a pretty good answer.
He didn't even push the button either. So.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there. Slight technical difficulty. Okay, over to
buzz
Per.
in?
So we're going to get Per off the mark here. Which categories are going to be, Per?
Yeah, I'm going to go with name that LPM, 2 ducks.
And before your all right, let's do the question,
sorry,
then
okay.
we'll do the intro. So, so we're in local payment methods. Okay, this popular Mexican convenience store is also a local payment method. It allows cash payments to be made for online shopping. So people order something online, and then this is Per's question. We'll make it a bit more.
Oh, I
open.
thought we can buzz in.
Okay, I'm going to let her buzz in, seeing as she practically gave you that first question. Okay.
Well,
so,
it was his company. I would really hope that he got that one.
yeah.
Exactly.
We can see who wants to be top of the class in this game show. We better get some gold
It's
stickers
Jersey.
ready for Lindsay.
Yeah.
So what's the answer, Clever Clocks?
Is it OXO?
Correct.
What is OXO?
Yeah, where's the question here? Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the last one we're giving, right, for
Okay.
not putting it as a question. So what is OXO? OXO, amazingly, has 13,000 convenience stores across Mexico. So for people that are without a bank account or without an online form of payment method, they can order online, get a voucher, go into their convenience store in Mexico and hand over cash. So well done. I owe you a couple of ducks. But Per, let's finish with your intro, and you can kick off round 2. Where are you from originally, and what's your biggest challenge in your role at Braintree?
I'm Swedish originally, but I've been here in the US for 19 years, part of a small Swedish payments mafia that's been following each other around from different companies. Biggest challenge is probably similar to what these guys are saying, basically following our merchants, our customers globally. Braintree, as part of PayPal, is global. We need to be able to service customers globally and how they want to pay. And we had a challenge in how to do that at a scale, which is why we came to you guys. So that's really the biggest challenge is how do we figure out how do we actually serve our merchants the best wherever they are and wherever their buyers are.
And before we move into round two, just a quick discussion topic, because I think all three of you are grappling with this to some extent. Lindsay mentioned earlier that it's not just serving an e-commerce merchant, and particularly globally, but more and more you're dealing with customers who themselves are platforms, want to serve other sub-merchants. So maybe start with you, Per. What's the way that Braintree's thinking about that?
I mean, we have an open platform. We have open APIs and open SDKs that platforms can use to serve their customers directly. That's really what we try to do. We try to be sort of an intermediary there for the different platforms that are really serving their merchants really well. But we do what we do really well, which is payments, obviously. And they do the e-commerce part of it and the whole part of what e-commerce platforms do really well. So we want to be open to them and be able to work with them.
And Nandan, is this a trend you're also seeing in terms of more platform customers or marketplaces? And are they putting different demands on you as a service provider?
Without a doubt. So we've been a payment facilitator enabler for many, many years. One of the key developments that we've just made recently is to add the local payment methods to our payment facilitator product, which is very international. So we'll see how it goes, but we're seeing more and more either payment facilitator lights or payment facilitators that are registered.
And Lindsay, you work on the product side. What are the differences you see with a platform customer, and any examples you can give us from a sort of product feature perspective?
Sure. So right now we have two models in the market. We actually service direct tier 1 merchants. We also are white labeled by over 190 partners. So it's not just about a single merchant being able to use our platform for processing globally, but also enabling that same merchant to resell and brand our platform as their own to essentially drive new services revenue. So banks are a big channel for her using us. We have over 110 banks that are white labeling us globally. So not just being able to give merchants the ability to manage hierarchies, whether they're the merchant of record or whether they use third parties are using their platform, but also fully brand and white label it as their own, and essentially be a service provider to other merchants.
Excellent. Okay, let's move on with the show. So Per, kicking off round two, what's your category and which level of difficulty you want to go for?
I'm going to go with Beyond the Pond. Let's start with a 1.
Okay, here we go. So this country leads the way in e-wallet preference. So that means more shoppers online, more online shoppers are paying via a wallet in this country than any other, with 49% of all transactions going via wallets. And it's seen the development of two of the world's most used e-wallet platforms. What is the question?
So I'm going to go with what is China?
Excellent. Okay, there you go with one duck. Okay, Nandan, what category are you going for?
So I'm going to do Beyond the Pond, 2 ducks, please.
Okay, here we go. It's Payments Jeopardy, folks, if you've just joined us at the back there. So here's... Oh, we already seen that one. You need to choose another category. No, Beyond the Pond.
He said 2 ducks.
2 ducks.
Yeah, 2 ducks.
Okay, here we go. So if this is the answer, what's the question, Nandan? So the answer is, this is the second most populated country in the world, with almost 16% of all e-commerce transactions are completed with a cash-based payment method. So it's still a country with, despite its huge population, second highest population in the world, a big chunk of that population don't have bank accounts, don't have cards, so they're ordering online, paying with cash. And remember, it's what is.
Yeah. What is China?
Okay, anybody want to jump in? Per.
That's got to be what is India, since it wasn't China.
Correct. So, Lindsay,
Oh, India was.
it's heating up. Oh, a pair might have stolen into the lead there. Okay, Lindsay, which category?
I'll do Beyond the Pond for 3 ducks, please.
Okay, so if you get this right, I think this could be a game changer and put you in the lead. No pressure. Okay, so here's the answer. This European country, I think this is probably the toughest question in the whole set. This European country, ranked number 1 in e-commerce growth for Western Europe, has a 28% increase year on year in 2017 for online shopping. So in other words, e-commerce is flying in this country. I'll give you one clue, depending how good your geography is. I would emphasize the West in Western Europe.
Sweden? I'm either bad on geography or bad on the payment question.
That's north.
I mean, I don't want to
North?
say anything
North.
stereotypical about Americans and
Or
geography,
Jersey,
but
but
no, it's the wrong answer. No.
Germany.
I was going there next.
Not West Germany, the western edge of Europe.
Can we ask the European?
Since you're saying the Western Edge, you gave it away. It's
UK.
what is Portugal?
Correct.
I know my geography, so there you go.
Yeah, I don't.
Sweden is north. Switzerland is central.
Okay.
I was going to make a comment about Sweden, but I think I've pissed off enough people today. Okay. I completely forgot who's next up. Help
I'll go
me out.
again. No. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. You can go.
Nandan, which category?
Sure. Bring home the bacon. 3.
3 ducks.
Okay. So, cross-border e-commerce accounted for $83 billion from the US in 2017. This is also a challenging one. Data shows that only what percentage of US merchants were selling cross-border. So the cross-border opportunity for US e-commerce merchants is huge. But so far, only a certain percentage are taking advantage of that. So it's less than half, which means less than 50%, in case you were wondering. And we'll give you the points if you get within 5% or so of the answer.
What is 38%?
Can I?
Let's see the answer. Whoa! You pretty much nailed it, Nandan. A well-earned 3 ducks. So now it's getting more competitive. I think we're going to go back to Lindsay, give her a chance to get back in the race.
Thank you.
Which category, Lindsay?
Let's go name that LPM for 3 ducks, please.
Okay, name that local payment method. So it's Payments Jeopardy, folks. If you're playing along at the back or at home, see if you know the answer to this. The question, actually. See if you know the question, because this is the answer. The answer is that 56% of all online purchases last year in the Netherlands were done by a bank transfer payment method called...
What is ideal?
All right. I think that was pretty easy for 3 ducks, but we'll give it to you. So yeah, Ideal is phenomenal. I mean, we used to talk about alternative payment methods, but in the Netherlands, Ideal is not the alternative. It's the primary way for consumers to pay for their online shopping. Okay, I think it must be Pear up next.
So there's only one left. One for bringing home the bacon.
Okay, final question of the show. So this is the most common form of payment offered by US online merchants, so US e-commerce businesses, when they're offering goods and services to cross-border consumers. What's the most common form of payment method?
I'm going to have to guess that what is PayPal? No.
So no, and Nandan was in there quickly.
Credit card.
Correct.
So non-APM.
So while the judges are counting up the ducks, let's do a quick last round. Particularly as we look into 2019, so we know global e-commerce, obviously a big trend in payments, and particularly serving local payment methods so consumers get to pay the way they want to. What are some of the other trends you're seeing around supporting global e-commerce and things that you're going to factor into your plans over the next year or two? Lindsay?
I would say safety and security and authentication, right? As we're seeing the shift towards making sure it is the right consumer, if it is globally from a 3DS perspective, guest checkout and SRC, then supporting alternative payments. So I think safety and security is key, especially as merchants want to move to new countries. Also being able to engage with local acquirers as well. So you're going to improve acceptance rates and approval rates when you have a local acquirer. So I think they're looking for the expertise as how best to expand for safety, security, and connectivity.
Fantastic. Nandan?
We're really interested in cash-based online payment methods. I think that's a really interesting category to explore, specifically within markets where cash is predominantly the tender type. So we've been working, especially in Latin America and in Asia, to not only enable payment methods that fit into this category, but maybe even develop a schema using some of our rails of first data.
Thanks, Nandan. And last pair, what are some of the challenges you see in the globalizing of e-commerce?
Well, there's a lot of movement now on maybe not so fun side, the regulatory side, European regulations coming in, both regarding secure customer authentication, but also around these new payment schemes. Essentially, they're trying to build a scheme out of whole cloth, basically getting the banks to be directly in the checkout process with the merchants, with the customers, and that's an initiative that we've similar in India with the UPI, Unified Payments Interface. They have it in Australia with the new payments platform. These kinds of initiatives, from a regulatory perspective, and the market forces driving that, is really interesting. There's a lot of stuff that we're very interested in doing. The schemes have their sort of part in this, but the regulators are also trying to get in and see if can they actually enable their banks to also be more involved in the payments processing. So that's an area we need to look at as well. That's very interesting.
Great. Okay, well, thank you very much for those insights. Okay, so we've got a pretty clear situation here in terms of the competition. So the winner of the first ever Payments Jeopardy is going to get a check for $2,020 to donate to a charity of their choice. Coming in a close third place, Lindsay from MasterCard has got 5 ducks. Just ahead of her with 6 ducks is Nandan from First Data. Big round of applause for both of them. And of course what that means with 7 ducks, so this was a pretty tight race. Perenelle from Braintree, part of the PayPal family, is this year's Payments Jeopardy champion. So the last thing, if you guys can step down and join me, we got a photo and we got a very big check, which is not cool for an e-commerce session, but maybe next year we'll pay by PayPal. Thank you to the great audience. That's all, folks.